Okay, thought I'd come on here and talk a little bit about my bullying. I'm going to get right into it because I promised it and I haven't done it yet because I thought I'd have a lot of anxiety about it, but instead I find myself detaching, so it makes it kind of hard to talk about something that you just detached from. It's a coping mechanism that I didn't even realize I had or how I handle things. But the more I learned about myself and the more, when I went to some counseling a few times, I've learned about how I cope with things. Either I panic to the extreme where I'm about to go insane, or I detach and just become numb. And for some reason, when I'm wanting to talk about this, I become numb. Um, Maybe because I am past it now, where I'm finally not allowing what he did to me run my life, which sadly I did for years after. But anyway, my bully was relentless. He was the star of the football team. He was the one that had all the party. You go to the parties with. You're the one he partied with. He was the. There was something about him that I think people were afraid of. I don't know what kind of home life he had. I imagine it probably wasn't that good. But I don't really, at this point, I hate to say it, but I don't care. He took what he did to me so above and beyond. It started when I was in seventh grade when we went to junior high. And in my school, junior high and senior high were together. We had like 3 buildings. They have more now. They've built on, but a small school. Graduated with 99 people, and we'd have the senior high or junior high, and then senior high was all in the same areas. You just went to different areas of the buildings. And anyway, started at seventh grade. Name calling, fat, dumb, ugly, stupid, worthless. I was reminded, and I mean this every single day of the school year, every day, at least 2 to 3 times, and I'm betting probably more like 4 or 5. But we're going to be a little bit, lenient here. At least 3 to 4 times a day, at least. Um, I was reminded that I was no good, that I don't even know why I was there. Um, I don't know what it was about me that he targeted me. I was very quiet. I didn't do anything to anybody. I just went. I hated school I didn't hate school until him. Um, it got so bad that I had missed so many days. I missed as many days until they say if you miss any more, you won't pass your grade. I absolutely, and you would think that would be a red flag. As a former teacher, that'd be a red flag to me that something's going on. But you're talking about the 80s, and I am a proud Gen Xer, but we were pretty much left on our own in a lot of ways. I know that there was teachers that knew that was what was going on. He would make fun of me right in front of them. You can't tell me you didn't hear that, but because he was the star of the school, one of the stars, football athletes, whatever you want to call them. My school is heavily into sports, especially football and field hockey. And yeah, so they pretty much can get away with anything they wanted to get away with. So whether they did their homework or not. And that's just my viewpoint of the school. Now, if you're watching me, you know who I am, you know where I went, and you feel the opposite, good for you. That means you had a good, good experience. I did not. But in all fairness, I used to think that I was bullied a lot, like everybody. And then as I really sat down and did some self-reflecting, I realized I wasn't. Most everybody just ignored me. I don't know what's worse, being ignored or being called names. But I also didn't put myself out there because of him. Um, Everywhere I went, if he saw me we went to the grocery store, even in front of everybody, he would make sure to call me either Oompa Loompa or a whale or something, or pretend he's bouncing up and down every time I walk. He pretend he's like the floor's, stupid stuff that people don't seem to think that that they seem to think is funny and that we've never experienced. I don't know. I mean, a kid, so he was just anyway. But it's every single day, and when you're reminded every single day, and then you have a mixed childhood when you go home, and sometimes you don't know what kind of mood your father or your brother is going to be in, and you get called names by them, and I just kept my mouth shut. I don't know why I didn't tell my mom more than I did, because she was verbally abused too, and I didn't want to make her life worse than She was such a kind, caring person. In my mind, I felt like I'd be adding to her worries if she was like my best friend. So, but I wish I had been a best friend to myself. And it was stayed that way for until about ninth grade. And then in ninth grade, it started to get more physical. Like, he would trip me, and then he would bounce. Like, oh my gosh, did you feel the earthquake wise? Of course, people would laugh. And at first, I was very angry with almost everybody in school. Almost not everybody, but the popular kids. I wasn't even close to being part of the clique. I really truly only had one really good friend in school. I mean, really good. I mean, I had people who treated me okay, but I had friends that I grew up with that I would play with at their houses when. But as soon as we hit seventh grade, it's like they became part of the clique. I didn't because of the way I looked, and they didn't take me along. They chose popularity over me, and we'll get into that a little bit and how I feel about that in a minute. But he started to get physical, and he would trip me up. And oh my God, one day I fell in front of him, and I don't think he let me forget it for 2 months. I had been walking in, I just had shoes on. I had like a new outfit on. I was so proud. And when you're back in the 80s, it was hard to find fat clothes. And I was so proud of the outfit. And the shoes were too slippery, and the floor was slippery, and I fell. It's like, why? And I kept saying, why am I being punished? Why is it that things I do have to be done where he could see? So it became such a anxiety thing for me to even walk in front of him. If I saw him even down the hallway, I would go the long way around anywhere. I became paranoid. If I went to town, I was scared to death of seeing him because he made sure he would call me out. And this may sound, oh, it's not so bad. It's just kid being kid. No, it was. A kid does not need me. I would never call somebody fat, and if I got mad and said it once, I'm certainly not gonna. I would never do it anyway. But he just did it to do it, and I don't understand what it was about me, because there was other people in school that were just as quiet as I was, yes, I was probably one of the fattest people in the class. Okay, I was. It's embarrassing, but I wasn't the only one. But yeah, I was the only one that seemed to be. I mean, other people got picked on. Don't get me wrong, but he was just relentless with me. And then it became physical in about ninth grade. As I said, he would trip me up. And I just got to the point where, okay, if you're very sensitive to certain subjects, especially of certain thoughts where you didn't think that you belonged anywhere on this earth, I know I have to be careful with this because YouTube will flag me, but please know, or please, if you don't want to watch it, if it triggers you, I understand. You don't have to continue watching. It got so bad. This is the part that's gonna be hard. I can't believe that I allowed him to get to me to this point, but I was ready to go. I didn't see my purpose. I didn't see my reasoning. I don't know who I was. I wasn't liked anywhere. It seems like I wasn't. It's like I was always a bother to everybody. Otherwise, why would they be calling me names? I am stupid. I'm worthless. I'm dumb. I'm ugly. Why am I here? It didn't make sense to me. And I was really, this is the time when we're going to church at that time. And I was like, I would pray. And I mean this from every ounce of my soul. I would pray, God, please take me. I'm ready to come home. And it wasn't for the right reasons, though. It wasn't because I was deeply religious and I just deeply wanted to be, It's just that I wanted to feel safe. I wasn't always safe at home. I wasn't safe at school. I wasn't even safe just going in my own town. It's like, what is it about me that nobody likes? And I still struggle with that to this day. It's like, what is it about me? He changed me to the point where, this is hard. But I had the pills in my hand. I was sitting on my bed. And I went from praying for him to say, okay, since you're not listening, I'm going to do something. So I had a bunch of pills in my hand. I just wanted the heartache to stop. I really, when you get into such a dark place, and this is what I can't explain to people when people say that it's cowardly to, and I'm thinking, you don't understand the place you get into. You don't think it's cowardly. You're not thinking logically. You don't. I don't know how to explain this. You literally think you're doing people a favor. I literally thought I was doing my mom a favor, that I didn't have to be an embarrassment anymore, that she didn't have to worry about her worthless child. And I don't know how to explain this unless you're, and I don't want anybody to ever get into the space that I did. It's a different feeling. You do not feel like you're doing, you don't realize no one's going to miss me. And I've literally thought that. Nobody's going to miss me. No one's going to care. I'll be doing everybody a favor. And you truly believe that. You don't have that thinking of, well, look what you're going to do to your, it would have tore my mom apart. But I wasn't thinking like that. You get into a different way of thinking. I don't know how to explain it other than maybe it was probably a breakdown. I don't know. My mom worked, okay, 8-hour days. I was a latchkey kid. So I had thought the opportunity was after I get out of school. My brother was driving already, and he was off and about and doing whatever he does. My older brother was out of the house at that point in time. He had, doing his own thing. And I thought it was a perfect opportunity. And my mom worked even in pain and in everything. She never came home early, ever. This is why I know there was some kind of, and I'm not getting into religion because I don't believe it was necessarily the Christian God, and I don't want to get into religion at all, but I believe that my mom and I were so connected that she felt something was wrong, and she's never ever comes home early, ever. And she never usually goes in by herself. My dad would take her, but for some reason he couldn't take her that day or something. She had a different vehicle. I don't know the exact reasoning. And just as I was about to take, I heard the door open and I heard my mom's voice. And I don't know to this day. I know it was meant to be, and I know it was just my angels, the universe, something was there to protect me, because it immediately snapped me out of that thinking that I had. I don't even know how to explain this. It took me in a different way of thinking. I literally thought, what am I doing? Oh my God, what was I about to do? It would have killed my mom. It would have changed her. I'm trying not to lose it here. But if it wasn't for my mom, and I think this is why I became super close to her, and she doesn't know this. She has no idea that I tried to do this. This would have broke her. This would have broke her. She would not have been able to handle it. Her kids were her world. She was all about her kids. But she can't change what she doesn't know, and I didn't tell her. So anyway, I never told her. And she saved my life. She doesn't know that until she was already gone, laying in a bed in the hospital when I told her that. But that's a different story. But anyway, he just did so much damage to me that's the extreme I went to. And I think that's when I started changing, because I can not really changing as much as I wish I had of, but I started building up that anger more and more and more and more. And I had a friend who betrayed me in the worst way possible. And I just got so tired of being beat up by the world. I only had one friend in school, and I thought I had, more than that, but I had one that did some horrible things and spread some horrible rumors without knowing the truth, the whole truth. But, so anyway, in about 12, it was early in my senior year. It was probably like a couple months in, if not even that. And I snapped. He literally came up to me from his seat, teacher right there, and pinched my boob. Now, this is the 80s. I am a proud Gen Xer, but we Gen Xers put up a lot of, I don't think people realize some of the hardships that we went through, because we had parents that worked. Both we were one of the first generations that had both parents working all the time. For the most part, I know we had it before, but we were the ones that had it mostly. The parents started having to have both of them had to work, and we were latchkey kids. I don't know why we were just kind of like ignored sometimes. I don't know, but I'd had enough. Anyway, I'm getting off track. I was done. I didn't care anymore, and I slapped him across the face. And now I realized I had every right, and I still did then too. But I was going to go to jail. That was self-defense. You have a right to defend yourself. When someone touches you and your body without your permission, you have every single right to defend it. And I think it shocked him because I never retaliated, never said anything, and I just usually would cry but I would never talk to him. And I slapped him and I said, enough. I had had it. I think I was mad. The teacher was right there and didn't do anything. He didn't do anything to me either. He never, I think maybe he thought, well, good for her, but he never protected me. He saw what he would do to me every day. But anyway, his face turned completely red and he sat back into his seat. And from that time on, he never touched me, never talked to me. He may have sniggered and said stuff to me, but at the point, he never bothered me to the extreme that he did for 4 or 5 years. He changed me. He changed me. He made me more afraid of things. He made me paranoid. I already had mental health issues with just me having depression and anxiety. I know I've dealt with it my whole entire life. He literally fed that fear and he changed who I was supposed to be. I had come to the realization because of him that just I don't matter, because all these teachers, all these adults would see him treat me the way he treated me and nothing happened. I'm a nobody. And so when I go into the world and I find it extremely hard to find friends, I have extremely hard finding, and this is where I struggle with. I know this sounds so stupid, but like even on my own Facebook page where I don't get a lot of interaction, don't get, but the thing is, this is how I used to feel. And I feel like, see, I just don't matter because nobody wants to get to know me, wants to talk to me, wants to whatever. And people call it, oh, that's just being a pity party, but they don't realize my heart was seeking some kind of validation that I mattered. I was seeking validation outside of myself. When I finally started to change and started to really work on my healing, I realized that I do matter and that I can't I don't need to get validation from outside people. Now, just because I understand it doesn't mean that it's hard to it's still hard to deal with at times. It still makes me feel sometimes like that little child who just wants people to like her. That's all I want. And I never knew who I was. I was too afraid. It's like I go to college, they're gonna make fun of me because I'm fat and I'm stupid. And I would call myself. I was actually became my worst bully. But anyway, how do I feel about everybody else who allowed it to happen? As far as the kids, my classmates, a lot of them in the future, I'll have to say, especially thanks to Facebook, we had a lot of conversations. I had quite a few who apologized, and I'm not mad at them because when you're a kid, you're not fully developed. Your brain's not fully developed, and you just want to be liked. You want to be part of the clique, and you don't want to be picked on. And you're afraid if you defend somebody, then you're going to be picked on. Does it hurt a little bit? Of course it does, but I understand it as well. And I'm not mad at them because they've changed their lives. They're not who they were back then, and I'm not mad. In fact, I am friends now with a lot of them. I won't say friends, but we're friendly, and I don't have any ill will towards them because they didn't really make fun of me. They would just laugh. I think they were laughing just because they felt like they had to go along with what everybody else was doing, and so they were feeding off each other. I'm not mad at them because they were just trying to fit in like everybody else, and you don't know who you are back then. When you're a teenager, no matter what you think, if you're a teenager, you don't know who you are, and I forgave them. I can't forgive him. I can't even thank him for the experience. Like, oh, that made me, because it changed my path in life. I became a lot more afraid than I already was, and I can't forgive him for that. And I would love to sit down and have a talk with him, say, and I would hope that he'd say, I may be able to find empathy for him, but I could never totally forgive him because he crossed the line. And I don't know if he realizes how badly he changed me, how much he I could have been different, but he helped shape me to be that afraid person I was for years, that quiet person, never staying up for myself person. And boy, I wish if I knew all it took was just, and I know I don't promote violence. I promote protecting yourself and defending yourself. I wish I defended myself sooner, because when someone touches you, no right. They have no right, and you have every right to defend yourself. So anyway, that's the story of my bully and how it really messed up my childhood. But all right, this is getting really long, but and if anybody made it through, thank you, thank you. If you didn't, I completely understand. It's 21 minutes long, but anyway, just know if you were bullied, you're not alone. Um, I know the pain. It's not fun. I wish I didn't allow him to have the power he had over me for so many years, but now that I am waking up and realizing that no, he's not going to have that power over me anymore, I have found a way to find peace, but not forgiveness. I just have found a way to realize he will never, ever have that power ever again. Never. So, anyway, guys, all right. Thank you for letting me get that all out and boo-hooing. But I pray that nobody has gone through what I went through. And I know I didn't say it to the extreme that I did because, well, it would be an hour long. But just know that I don't know what I was going to go with that. Anyway, guys, thank you for letting me talk about it, getting it out. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.